see a smart factory is that today there is a lot of data flowing in the plant, in the organization, in the system, and based on these data, a decision is being taken. And for this, generally the factory is divided into two floors. I see it as a shop floor and a top floor. Basically, what is this top floor doing is giving those decisions and this. But slowly and steadily, it has to move down. That is, the top floor has to come down. It has to merge with the shop floor, and then it will be a very thin line only between these two. That is one thing what this smart plant will look at. Then what is this top floor at that time going to do is that based on certain things like strategy, algorithms, and the logics, the decision will be taken at time to time. And these three things are not going to be static. They are going to change on day. Based on this, you might have to do a quick decisions at the shop floor. And the people doing at the shop floor should get this at their machine tip. So they need not think much about that. So that machine should give those inputs to them so that that's what they are supposed to do and they will be able to do that. And this total information should be in such a way that quickly we will be able to convert those machine languages or machine inputs into the supply chain. It might be right from the customer end or it might be at the supplier end. Many a time it is found out that from the customer when the requirement comes, translating that requirement into a specification or a requirement from the supplier, from an input supplier, it takes a lot of time. That time should get reduced. Quickly, a plant should be able to give what the customer wants using its systems, logics and algorithms. This is how I see a smart factory will be.
Myself basically coming from a tractor industry, so where we handle a lot of variants. In our plant we handle around 200 plus variants, and the component scale is close to around 10,000 plus parts. So to handle this, the workforce is not in a very skill or competencies required for them. So what we have started looking, that is machine to machine speaking should be there, and we need to see that every operator doesn't make a mistake in his workstation. That is a basic agenda for us. So we introduce a lot of small POCAs, what we call as mistake proofing solutions in the line. So which take care using the barcode technology. We leverage that and we do a lot of small things. But to me, a big challenge nowadays is how to have real-time visibility for the changes happening inside the shop floor, and then how it can get optimized, and then all connected to the KPIs, what we call as key performance index, where we only measure in the month end. We used to measure all the performance index, and then we say we are lagging behind this and this. So, but we need a solution where it should monitor on an hourly basis, and then that optimization should take place immediately or within a day. So then only all this performance index can be well managed in the upstream. That is point number one. And the second point is nowadays we are not giving more importance on the resource management. So that is the one area where the smart factory should have in place, saying that resource management, resource utilization, because many machines are even not giving their fullest utilization point. It's only, I mean, if you ask me OE level, all those things are very less. That's point number one. And some of the machines are not even used in a very 95% plus to the capacity levels. The third point I would touch upon nowadays to handle the flexibility, we need modular concept. There should not be even a fixed assembly lines. We should have a line where any model can go inside. Modular system should take place so that the guy who is sitting there should only see that it is being matched with a barcode or something which is the ID card of the particular model is getting inside the line. Then everything should change automatically. That guy should not go and intervene. System-driven approaches should be there. So that is why I think in the smart. Thank you.
Thank you. So well, see, like basically, like what I see is this productivity, asset management is key for success of a business. So especially we are looking into the bottom line. So in that way, you know, like what I feel the essence of this today's manufacturing is a smart manufacturing. Of course, like everyone is manufacturing in their own ways, but you know, like we have to really step up and see what next, what I can do. right? So we should really explore and get to know like what are the solutions which are available, so that we can really improve our bottom line. So for which like what I see is like there should be a kind of a connectivity between the upstream and the downstream. So there should be a good track and trace facility in the smart manufacturing, so that there can be a kind of an interaction, not only the upstream and the downstream, and downstream in the sense not only till the say DC, it should reach even the customer. And we have to take the voice of the customer on a real time and take their feedback and see what corrections can be done, so that it can be linked to the R&D, or it can be linked to a supplier, or it can be linked to the manufacturing sector, so that the action plans can roll out in a faster track, so that on a real time we can really win the heart of the customer, and we can really have the loyalty of the customer. So ultimately we have to ensure that there is a kind of a track and trace from end to end, even taking the feedback of the customers on a real time. So where I feel that we should have a solution so that they will not be decided. And other thing what I strongly feel is like for many sectors of manufacturing, there may be kind of an routing which has been defined for a manufacturing. So maybe like in some of the industries, they will try to divert the routing so that there is no sequential interlock. So means to say that they will be stepping the jump of manufacturing process, and they will be inviting a quality and a non-quality cost. So there should be a tool where it can analyze on a real time wherein this particular line is impacting a direct bearing on my bottom line or on my financials. So should be a kind, means immediately there should be a kind of a trigger to a management that okay fine, hey, this line or this particular mission is contributing impact on my financials. So that is one thing within good asset management, and of course like the softwares and the other tools where in any plant I cannot have a unique system wherein it will be talking. So I should have a kind of an adapter which talks and make a kind of a synchronization between the machines, so that there's a flow of information to the plant manager or the top management, and I'll come to know the performance, the NE or OE, like whatever which is having a big bearing on the financials. So that is a place wherein we have to really emphasize and take it forward. And the last point wherein I want to really talk is on the safety. See, many times there are a lot of instances where the people will try to bypass the interlock, right? And in turn they'll be trying to do the kind of a work where they can have a quick fix. So one should really ensure that the people who are working down the line are secured, because they do have the family. So we have to ensure, and any kind of a violation of the interlock with a smart device in a manufacturing sector, and the data flowing in to the appropriate maintenance manager or the production head will secure the happiness of the people who are working. So I wish that this should really happen in all the industries, because ultimately people work for manufacturing and we have to secure them. So wherein we want to have the data on a real time for any kind of a violation. So this is my thoughts. Thanks.
A lot of smart answers already. Okay, if I say my shop floor is smart, I would look for three things. One is the process should be smart. Second is the product should be smart. And third is the people should be smart. Now, when I tell about the process, maybe a lot of points have already been talked about, automation. What I look forward is that I get the best OEE, OPE. So I will look for innovation there. Like every industry has got its own unique challenges. There is no apple-to-apple comparison between any two, at least whoever is present in this room. So, the kind of variation that is going to be is huge. So I think it is ultimately going to be a shop floor specific solution and not a generalistic solution. Like I use in carbon black industry 2 raw materials, air and oil, nothing else. Whereas the gentleman was telling he uses close to 10,000. I mean, it's amazing. So what applies to him may not apply to me. The second thing is that I would look for a product which is smart in terms of adding value to the customer. Like a lot of product customization, product design, and cutting down the flap or making the decision making process faster, so that the end result, the benefit to the customer is passed on very quickly. So this will include a lot of variables like the resource management and other things also. Basically, the cost management. And here comes, the green energy systems. Like there are so many components to it. It's an endless list. And my experience is that what I will look for is smart people on the floor. Like the major issue, you connect the machine, the internet of everything. Ultimately, you get a lot of data, piles of data. Unless this data is analyzed and interpreted properly, and it should be used to anticipate, and it should be used to predict, and to mitigate certain situations, then it becomes meaningful. So this can be done maybe like a remote level asset management system or something. But until and unless the guys are trained to understand this thing, I don't find any use of smart manufacturing. So I will put a lot of emphasis on the people part of it. I do not know about other industries, but generally what we are seeing is there is a dearth of good people coming into manufacturing. So when that, the defining lines between manufacturing and service sector are, getting more and more thinner, I believe that there is more of a service sector in the manufacturing sector. So I think people holds the key to a lot of things. That is my feeling.
Thank you. For me, smart means agile, flexible, can work in controlled environment, give me quick information, guide me, forecast, so that I can take decision. I will not go into the detail what we do, how we do, when we do. Our productivity is 90% plus, and we have already touched plant capacity. Thank you.
Very interesting, insightful feedback from all of you through your experience. Warren Bennis, a very famous American philosopher, was asked, "What do you see as factory of the future?" And he had replied very interestingly. He said, "The future factory will have only two employees, a man and a dog. The man will be there to feed the dog, and the dog will be there to keep the man from touching the equipment." This was what he had said jokingly. Looking at the experience, Felix has worked in South Africa and Mexico and Germany and now India and Japanese and a lot of global experience, including our own large companies like L&T and Aditya Birla. When you implemented these M2M, machine-to-machine communications or Internet of Things in your factories, what were the key challenges and pain areas and how you overcome those in terms of implementation of those on the shop floor? So if we could now start from this end and we'll come there. Is it okay? We start from Mr. Kakkad.
To be very precise, we are an assembly unit where we have multi-product line. We have many variants. I can say that one basic equipment requires almost 1,500 products, components. I am not touching child parts. If I touch child parts will be around 20,000. So we have one line flexible enough to produce all variants, all models. That is key. Because numbers are very less. We produce only 5 units per day. One unit minimum cost is 50 lakhs. We don't use any software. Software is, we have SAP, which controls manufacturing, procurement, everything. But basic control is human control. Because it's a purely man-oriented manufacturing, where over experience of so many years, so whatever we felt that will key to lose productivity or loss, we have ensured that those are being taken care. What we felt over a period of time that communication. Lack of communication creates a lot of problem, whether it is a man or a machine. So we have very agile system of communicating in our shop floor, so that information is very quick, everyone is having, and we have a single window. So no conflict, no confusion. Another one is availability of material on the right time, because we have a lot of variants. And on the other hand, we have a lot of pressure for keeping inventory in control. You cannot keep all variants, all material in hand. So that is a very big challenge, and somehow we are managing it, because our suppliers also are very different. They are from not medium, not high, they are low volume producers. So that is a very big challenge for us. Another one is training, skilled manpower, absenteeism. So we have taken a lot of actions to cover such areas so that these obstacles should not be there in day-to-day operation. And this is how we are managing our show and reach to a level that we are proud to be. In 5 years, we have achieved this much. Quality, we are exporting almost 30% of our produce. Anything behind that, it is it is purely man-controlled, to be very precise. So anything you want more to be inside, I will discuss separately.
Just one request, just hold the mic close, because it is audio is getting recorded in the system.
I'll just tell two stories. You asked for the pinch points for execution of systems. So one was when I was working in a steel company. There I had again only one raw material, coal. Somehow I always end up with very less raw materials. So we had almost 2,000 manpower for producing 10 million ton of coke. That is when the company tied up with JFE and Nippon Steel for automation of equipments. So the Japanese have got an